boy, do we have a good one for you this morning. Not often we get to do these. Super cool. Where do I start? Okay, Quintessa, ever heard of it? Pretty popular. But for a while it wasn't, right? So going back to 1989 when the Quintessa family, utilized this particular parcel in Rutherford for the hopes of making an Opus 1 styled wine, proprietary red wine that they could hang their hat on and be proud of. The early days of Quintessa were rocky. That's not a pun with regards to the volcanic soils. It takes a long time to create something like this, right? And Quintessa, the vineyard, is out of the blue. Everything redone, everything gutted, everything. You know what I mean? It's like when you tear down the house and you build that new house and you think it's gonna work this way, but then this contractor's like, oh, I'm sick that day. And that new house, that dream is taking longer than you think, but at some point that house gets built. And it's a gorgeous house, right? You look at the wife and you go, man, it was all worth it. All the BS we put up with and all we dealt with and everything. Look at this, it's worth it. And that's how I feel about Quintessa. I was fortunate enough to visit Quintessa mid-90s, 93, 95, really when the property was just coming on. And we toured the vineyard, and it's got to say it's one of the most unique sites in Napa. These rolling hills, multiple layers of different soil types. You got volcanic soil, you got alluvials, you got all this stuff going on, which got the Quintessa family originally all Twitter-pated and excited for a reason. It's very exciting when you visit the property, like, wow, this is crazy. It's a bit like almost going to Chateau Figeac or something like that in San Emilion with all of its hills and swells. You're like, this isn't just like a flat piece of dirt, anything but. And it took them a while to realize what to plant where. The vines have to mature, the winemakers and vineyard people have to learn. Everything has to happen, and it takes time. Well, here we are, 30 years later, and Quintessa, now, friends, is all that and a bag of chips. Look at that box, huh? Center that up. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, the wine's gorgeous too. We're gonna do this. You ready, kids? We are going to fire up one of these bad boys right now. What do you say? Put a little off camera there, so you don't want to cover me. I'm really beautiful. Tissue wrapped, dope. 2021 Quintessa, baller gear. I forgot a cork tube. Got it. So the 2021 Quintessa is, as most previous vintages, it's basically Cabernet Sauvignon. Do they put Cabernet on it? No. They still call it Rutherford Valley red wine, but this wine is usually like 90, 92% Cabernet Sauvignon. This one I think is like 91% Cabernet. Cabernet from a series of different soil types. Intense work. I think they brought in, if I'm not mistaken, which you whiny trolls out there that you will notice something that I think they brought in Pedro Parra, the world famous wine geologist, to do multiple soil pits. He digs holes and he tells you, oh, do this here, do this there, based on what the results of the pit show. And I think they did all that to the nth at Quintessa, as well they should. It is one of the most unique soil types in the valley. Range of soils, I should say. Now, for years, again, getting back to it, oh man, we want to make like an Opus level wine, and to be truthful, early on, it was an Opus level. You know what I mean? It tasted like a kick-ass Franciscan wine, which is not bad at that time. But what's happened over the years is as the vineyards matured, they learned everything. This wine has grown up. So yes, 100% indubitably, yes, this is one of the greatest wines in the Napa Valley nowadays. And it didn't used to be that way. And it's probably only in about the last half dozen vintages that we've seen this wine just explode and become what it's supposed to be. And when I say explode, it didn't get bigger, it just got better. You know what? It got more refined. It's more sleek. It tastes expensive now. And maybe some of the early ones didn't. And what we have now is a world-class premium wine that, yes, is at the level of Opus, is at the level of Dominus, is at the level the fancy Realm things, or Schrader, or Colgan, or whatever you want to chuck in there. This wine is that level. Now, that mulberry thing jumps straight out of the nose. There's this really cassis Cabernet component that I absolutely adore. A lot of Napa Cabernet does not taste like Cabernet. Well, Cabernet is, I think it is. And this just reeks of beautiful cassis mulberry inflected Cabernet. Gorgeous. Quality of tannin. Again, I'm a huge tannin monkey. I love great tannins. They can be abundant, but they have to be, you know, the Italians say fonduta. You know, they got to be like a little melty. They have to kind of like frame, but then know when their job is done and kind of go like, and great tannin does that. It does it in this wine, but it has true classic Cabernet tannin. This is absolutely wonderful. We tasted this a couple weeks ago, and it was like a real damn moment. At the time, I didn't even know it had gotten 100 points, right? Because we don't like look stuff up until like after we're tasting or if it comes up, et cetera. Then it becomes a factor if we're interested in the wine. And at this point, after I looked up scores, like, damn, okay. I'm not as dumb as I look. Because it tastes like damn near perfect Cabernet Sauvignon. It really does. And there are bigger wines in the Napa Valley. There are more minerally wines. But if you want center of the valley, Rutherford, let's talk about that Rutherford dust. It's there, but it's not the main component, right? This is a more complex wine than we see from a lot of Rutherford Cabernets because of that variance of soils and exposures that are on the property. This is more than that, which is what they envisioned when they got this whole thing kicking in the late 80s, early 90s. See, Opus was kind of lucky when they started because they had like Tokelon and the vineyard across the street from Tokelon. Nice, flat, whatever deal. They already knew what that vineyard did. So Opus kind of hit the ground running. Dominus actually took a few years to get going, right? So that was 83. They were going by like 87. By 90, they were really up and running as a great wine. But it took Christian Moex a few years to figure out that piece of dirt. It takes time. And here we have a scenario where that time taking is paying off. The work, everything they put into it, now they're making 100-point wine. And that's what this is, folks. The 2021 Quintessa is 100-point wine. And that doesn't happen too often. I don't care which critic it is. I don't care, you know what I mean? It's simply the ratios are still such that for something to get 100 is still a bona fide rarity. Maybe not quite the rarity it used to be, but there's like 20 critics now, you know? So if one of those guys is chucking 100 at a wine, then you know it is something special. And that's what we have here. Very, very special wine from the gang of Quintessa. Well played. It's the best Quintessa I've ever had. And I opened it, so I guess we're kind of stuck drinking it. Darn, shucks. I don't drink a shit ton of Napa wine, but I'm gonna have me a couple glasses of this one today, folks. This is gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. Pricey, yes, but not as pricey as the others. A deal considering its peer group, I would say. And yeah, you guys should get yourself some of this. Even a bottle or two. You owe it to yourself. Treat yourself. Get some Quintessa.